creativity and innovation. In the world of work, the most important revolution is the transition from an agricultural society to industrialized production of goods and products. Above all, industrialization has enlarged cities. Due to the appeal of the big industry, migration movements cause rapid urbanization. Today, we are witnessing a similar evolution with the transition from service society to the information and knowledge society. According to many observers, this passage to an information and knowledge society has led to a substantial change in the concept of work itself. Knowledge, and not labor, is the source of social wealth. The major drivers of growth for countries and companies are creativity and innovation, which encompass translating knowledge into products, technical progress and process changes capable of generating profit. According to this vision, the new workers are therefore workers of the intellect. This type of workers heavily relies on digital technology. Some see an increasing dependency from technology as a danger, thinking that this may lead to a reduction in traditional labor. However, history has always shown that all the jumps in the evolution of work have led to the suppression of a certain form of work, but always for the benefit of others. Despatialization of work. Which buildings will be able to accommodate the new functions and the new way of working in the knowledge society? There are mainly two elements that come from the knowledge society and affect how spaces will host work in the near future. The first is the immateriality of production, which is connected to the reduction in distinction between goods and services. The second element is represented by despecialization of work, meaning that work can be undertaken independently from where the office is. Technologies and communication. The first major technological innovation capable of influencing work modes, such as fax, Internet 1.0 and mobile phones, became widespread in the 90s and have contributed to making work more flexible than in the past. Today's technologies are all about people's mobility and communication. This increasing flexibility weakens the boundary between free time and work time. Economy and glocalization. The possibility of starting business activities almost at zero cost is now a reality. Emerging economies are growing really fast. Different consumption models will impact growth rates. The elderly population will tend to compress consumption, while a new middle class is expected to take over the new market demand. As a consequence of intensive cross-country exchanges, cultural differences tend to weaken, tastes and consumption patterns become multicultural. Glocalization, meaning the adaptation of global cultures to local context, seems to characterize this period. Connectivity leads to the determination of communities that are formed regardless of geographical boundaries and constraints. From a work point of view, productivity does not depend on who does what, where, when, at what price. Markets can reach consumers everywhere. This means that the ability to compete is not only linked to the size of the company, but to the ability to use digital resources in a proper way. Demography and society. The living population has been categorized into four distinct generations that are supposed to have homogeneous characteristics. The first one is baby boomers. In 2020, in the USA, 1 out of 6 people are over 65. In Europe, even 1 out of 5. Most baby boomers have reached retirement age but are still healthy and active. What Americans call unretirement is becoming a lifestyle habit in many Western countries. Gen X is the demographic cohort following the baby boomers and preceding the millennials. Researchers describe them as active, happy, and achieving a work-life balance. The digital generation, also known as Gen Y or Millennial generation, is progressing through the life course. This generation is defined as new technology adopter focused on career, family, home ownership, and technologies. Researchers confirm that they care a lot about the environment and social issues and believe that businesses should seek to improve society. Finally, Gen Z, the so-called Internet generation, takes up to 25% of the world population. It is a population of digital natives accustomed to mobility and social networks. This connotes the attitude to mobile work, to networking, to a life made of connections that inspire education and behavior. Women belonging to the Y generation will be the future protagonists in the world of work. The phenomenon of urbanization is growing. 50% of the world population lives in urbanized centers, and it is expected that by 2030, over 40 cities in the world will exceed 10 million residents. Companies need to indulge the characteristics of the new generations by devolving more attention to environmental and social issues, also in the way they build and manage office buildings. Spatial downsizing and decentralized hubs are examples of strategies being currently undertaken within the smart or agile working logic that have a direct impact on the environment. The Internet is increasingly a free infrastructure, able to eliminate physical barriers, limit constraints, change the boundaries between companies, their customers, partners, and suppliers. Free access to information lead to a natural shift toward transparency. The success of many initiatives depends on the involvement of people at different levels with the progressive elimination of barriers and hierarchies. If certainly a large number of employees has been substituted by technologies, in parallel there is a widespread tendency to resort to freelancers, temporary workers, consultants, and project collaborators. Large companies need to involve a qualified workforce, but only for temporary projects. Overall, the knowledge work and the infrastructure of organization require companies to develop environments that support flexible work practice. This implies that companies are required to adapt their spaces to the agility of the workforce. The ability to enhance different skills and point of view is a real value for companies. This has two major consequences on people's way of working. On one hand, the increasing need for collaborative working methods by facilitating the interaction between people coming from different backgrounds and competences involves spatial modifications where most of traditional offices lack appropriate spatial arrangements. On the other hand, individual tasks such as contemplation, concentration, analysis, and so forth are recognized as crucial to foster people productivity at work, but also their well-being and quality of life. Spatial solutions that allow employees to isolate and carry out solo work need to compensate the widespread adoption of open environments. In conclusions, global trends must be translated into the workplace as they reveal future organization needs and employee behaviors. The following points resume the major impacts of these trends on the workplace. Digital technologies free work from fixed space and time, while allowing companies to collect loads of data on people and spaces. Pool economy and glocalization empower customers and employees to be more demanding in the quality of products and services. Diversity in companies becomes the norm and affects employee requirements for work policies and spaces. Companies settling in urban environments need to reduce the occupied space and develop socially responsible business and real estate strategies. More competitive markets require companies to hire flexible talents as needed, which entails a more responsive adaptation of space. Both collaborative and individual tasks expect to be hosted in appropriate space.